Hosted by Mike, the Big Cheese.
Welcome back to the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. It is Sunday, January 7th. Happy New Year to everybody. We were off the air the last 2 weeks of 2023 because all the holidays fell on a Sunday when we do the live show. So we kind of pre-recorded two specials over there, but now we're back live and we got a great show tonight. Alan D'Angelo from Power Theory, Last Breed, Everdawn, and a whole bunch of other bands in the past is on tonight's show. We're talking to Alan in about a half hour. We'll give him a call. We're going to get on as much music as we can. We kick things off tonight and this year with Liege Lord, Rage of Angels. Definitely one of my favorite records of all time. It's in my top 10. Matt Vinci, the bass player, passed away last year, leaving only Tony as the only original member. I kind of thought they would have packed it in. They really weren't that active to begin with. I caught them at the last Defenders of Oak Festival, but even that had to be about 8 or 9 years ago. And they really haven't done a lot since then. They were talking about recording and putting out a new record at that time. It never happened. But Keep It True Festival booked them as a tribute to Matt Vinci. It's probably going to be Joe and Tony on vocals and guitar, and a few of the other members that have been filling in over the years in that band, and whoever else they bring up on stage. And I said it's not going to end there. Once they do it, every other festival is going to book that same thing. And Blades of Steel here in the U.S. booked Liege Lord, the tribute to Matt Vinci. It goes up there with the Skull tribute, which is ex-members of the Skull, where they pay tribute to Eric Wagner. I heard now that Mickey D is out there doing sort of like a Motorhead tribute. I think it's called One Day or One Night with Mickey D, and he's playing a lot of old Motorhead songs. He was a drummer in Motorhead, not even the original drummer. I love Mickey D, but this is just the way things are right now. You take any one member of a band, and that's the band. Eventually, like I always say, there'll be no members of the original band left, and that band is still going to go on. But hey, that's life, right? All right, let's get to the music. Enough of the chit-chat and the complaining about that. I rip on that every week, but we'll keep the music going here. Christian will get his request out of the way in the very beginning of the show. He wanted to hear Explorer, New Jersey's finest Explorer. I wish these guys would get back together. They did. They put out a record. They did some reunion shows, and it fell apart again, but I really would love to see Explorer out there playing live. Off that first record, here's World War III. right, Last Breed featuring our next guest, Alan D'Angelo on bass. Devil to Pay. That's a band that has got going on with Bobby from Power Theory. So we'll talk to them all about that in a little bit. I'm just trying to get things organized. I kind of got late to the show tonight, so I'm trying to get all the songs that we're playing tonight uploaded. After being away for 2 weeks, I haven't been into the studio at all, so I usually have everything prepared before the week comes up, but I'm kind of at the last minute over here today. But we'll get things going. In case you haven't heard, there's a lot of news that took place in the last 2 weeks. We're not going to repeat most of it because it's old news by now, but Manowar coming back to the U.S., even though I think they live here in the U.S. anyway. They make it sound like they live over in Europe, but I'm pretty sure they live up in Auburn, New York still, most of them. At least Joey and Eric do. I'm not too sure, but they're playing at the King Theater in Brooklyn. A beautiful theater. It's like a Radio City Music Hall type of theater, very ornate and old. But the tickets were going for like $180 a piece, and the balcony is closed. They didn't sell any tickets in the balcony because Manowar says nobody looks down on them, so they didn't sell any balcony tickets. But it sold out really quick. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw the price. I was like, if I wanted to go with my wife to that show, it would cost us about $400 for the tickets with fees added in. That's crazy. Do you know how many other shows you can see at local clubs with other bands for that kind of money? I mean, let's be honest, it's just Joey and Eric, and if you've heard Manowar live over the last few years, they don't sound like the Manowar from back in the 80s. I mean, nobody does. We're all getting older. Eric's still one of the greatest singers, I think, in metal, if not in music in general. But, he can't do the songs the way they used to. They're all tuned down now. You got Michelangelo Beto playing guitar. I don't want to really see him and his hairpiece up there playing. I mean, it just doesn't look right. I don't even know who's on drums with them now. They've been rotating drummers so often, but I just think that's an excessive amount of money. I know it costs them money to bring in the big setup and play over here, so maybe we'll play some Manowar tonight. They were like 25 cents of royalties and go to Joey, and he could help fund this excursion back to the U.S., but that is a crazy amount of money to spend. And if they know they can sell that place out that quickly, why not do an entire U.S. tour when you're bringing all your equipment over here in your stage show? Are they trying to test the waters? I don't know, but they saw it sold out, so I'm guessing that no matter where they play here in the U.S., they're going to sell out no matter where they play, so it might be worth it to do a whole tour, but that's just a crazy amount of money for me to spend on a ticket. I wouldn't do it. All right, we'll save Manowar for later on. Let's play some Merciful Fate. Hopefully this is the year we get new Merciful Fate or King Diamond. Here's Evil. right, Everdorm with Century Black. Let's get Alan on the line right now. We got to get this interview over with because the football game is on tonight. We got to get him back to the game.
Hi, this is Alan. You know what to do. You know when to do it.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options. To leave a callback number, press 5.
Well, not like getting the answer machine the first time, huh? Let's try that one more time.
Hi, this is Alan. You know what to do. You know when to do it.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up.
All right, I tell you what. Let's play one more tune, and then I'm going to reach out to Alan again. So let's do Saintly Sinner, Call the Surgeon.
What did you say? I must have been daydreaming, running by once more. Did you say that you were leaving? We had it made.
Mike, you there?
Yeah, dude, I don't know what's going on. My phone was like just shutting that number off for some reason. I have no idea why.
It was probably your phone's way of telling you don't talk to this guy.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, and it's a pleasure to have you on here. You know, a fan of your music for decades now. I hate it really makes me sound old, but it goes back a long time to the 80s.
Let me tell you something. When you brought up Saintly Sinner, that blew my mind completely because I was just talking to my singer from that band yesterday, in fact, and he's like, that band just won't die. It's like, I got called to do an interview about that. I had a written interview I had to do for that band from some magazine in Denmark, and I'm
Wow.
like, he was bringing up like our demo tapes because we never had an album. I mean, it was the 80s. We were a bunch of kids. All we did was a couple of demo tapes. These tapes got traded everywhere, and I'm like, it's 40 years later, and you guys still remember these little crappy demo tapes we did? Yeah, it was amazing. So,
Absolutely. I mean, I played a tape. I got a trip, but I played all the time. And, you know, I remember being a tape trader, like around 81, 82. I started trading tapes with people from all over the country and the world. And I don't remember where I got yours from, but, you know, I just fell in love with the band. It was great music, you know, and good music never dies. And it was actually decades later that I realized you used a different name. I was like, oh, shit, I don't know why I haven't looked up Alan. I think it was Alex Rossi or something.
No. We were young and quite stupid and quite involved in chemical substances at the time, and my alter ego of Alex Ross was evil and he had to die, so I had to get rid of it.
Not once did I realize it. I'm looking something up one day, and it's like, you know, in Power Theory. I go, who the hell's Alex Ross in Power Theory? And I was, oh shit, it's Alan. That's when it dawned on me. I was like, holy shit.
That was something else. And it really, a little side note, I took the name from my then, 40 years ago, girlfriend at the time. Her cousin's name was Alex Ross. I said, that's a really cool name. So let me take it, and in true 80s fashion, add the extra X onto Alex.
Of course.
And like 3 days later, he was stabbed and killed on the subway. And I said, maybe this isn't a good idea.
That's what happens. But, you know, it was a great band. Those demos were amazing. I had Greg Livesey on the show years ago. We were talking about it, but he didn't play on the demo tapes. He was just in the band, I guess, at one point in time.
He was Mark III of that band. We had 3 versions of that band. Originally, the guitar player was a guy from the Bronx who I'm still very good friends with named John Martino. And then Guy Santangelo, who's now playing in a band called Legacy, an Iron Maiden tribute, excellent guitar player. And me, him, and the singer Mike actually get together for dinner every now and then and compare our old war stories and start laughing about the old days. But and then Greg was in the final version that right before we broke up.
Yeah, and the band started around '83. So when you think about it, back then, Metallica's debut record came out, Slayer's record came out. That's when metal really started exploding, and people were realizing, I think, for the first time that we can actually make this. Before then, it was like an underground thing, and you never thought you were going to have a chance to get on a major label or to break big or be a national act. But where was this band at that time? I mean, did you realize that, hey, you did have the music, you had the looks. Did you think that we could take this to that level?
We wanted to, and we might have. I mean, we had interest from labels, but then everything imploded. But I'm going to blow your mind now. The band actually started in 1979.
Wow!
And the original version was kind of half hard rock, half new wave. And then, like, after a couple of years, I'm like, listen, this ain't my gig. We need to get heavy, And then we altered the sound to what was more what we liked. And yeah, I hope you never hear the original demo we did because it's cringeworthy.
Now I have to hear it. Let's be honest. 79 New Wave was big in 79. Hard rock metal really wasn't. It didn't take off yet. It was just in the beginning phases.
Right,
Nobody knew what it was.
Like,
so you
we
really
were still
played.
kind of hard rock. We were still kind of hard rock, but not to the level that we got to with the further versions of the band.
Well, how long did that band go on for before you called it a day?
I think we broke up finally in either late '85 or early '86. Was our last I guess gig we did, and that was I want to say early '86, because then after that I moved on to a band called Aris. And that was '87, so it had to be before then.
I mean, when you decide you're going to pack it in, I mean, is it an easy decision to make? What do you say? Like, hey, look, we've been trying this, it's not going anywhere. Or is it more just guys not getting along and saying, F you, I'm out of here?
Well, no, it kind of just imploded. Our drummer at the time, Bill, he left. He got an offer to play with a band called Tour de Force, and he left to go to join them. And then we just couldn't find a suitable replacement for him. And it just kind of just faded away,
That's what happens. I mean, it's the story of this game. I mean, you hope you can make it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But, I mean, the 90s must have been a rough time because, metal was kind of like, not in vogue anymore. People weren't caring about it. But what did you do to keep busy throughout that decade? Because I don't remember you being in anything that I can recall.
Well, no, I was actually with Greg in the band Lives. No, wait, no, I joined that in 2000. No, 90s. I was in a band called Trial by Fire. We never played live, but we did record one demo, and it's killer stuff. It just never took off. We had one magazine in England that wrote about us, and in the UK, and they actually called our song Haddonfield our version of Master of Puppets, which really blew my mind. I was like, wow, cool. We're getting compared to that. But yeah, the 90s was rough, man. It was tough. Not just to even be a musician, just to be a metalhead. Because I remember walking through malls and like kids laugh, like pointing and laughing, like, "Hey, David Lee Roth." I was like, "Oh, really? I got to deal with this crap." And then, but then the funny part was then Guitar Hero came out, and all of a sudden these kids started getting into this music, and then all of a sudden in the malls they're like giving me a thumbs up, and I'm like, "You little prick! You were calling me David Lee Roth last week. I want to strangle you now." It went like we did a complete 180, but now it's I mean, it kind of nobody really makes fun of musicians anymore like they did in the 90s. I shouldn't say musicians, metalheads like they did in the 90s. It's kind of back into not at the level it was in the 80s, but it's back. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I can never get back to that point again, but, it is thriving right now. But I think we're at a point right now where it's never going to go away again. We're not going to lose it because we have so many younger bands coming up that are playing classic metal that I think it'll just keep continuing on and on and on. We'll never get to that level. Like when the 50s bands came back in the 70s and the 60s bands came back in the 80s. They're all out there playing in front of nice audiences, but it's not what it was back then.
No, it'll never get. And you know what? I'm kind of glad. Because when it got really big, and I know this is blasphemy, but when metal got really big in the 80s, it got watered down. And there was a lot of what I call the cookie cutter bands back then. They all sounded the same. It was a formula. Put out the album, have the pretty outfits and the hair and the makeup, have the fast song to begin with, then have the power ballad after that, and then it was all formulated. And it was just metal. I hate to say this, it needed to die. so it could be reborn like a phoenix. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I agree with you 100%. Do you think that it was the band's fault or the label's fault? Because the labels would get a band on on contract and say, "Oh, we love what you're doing, but we want you to do this because this is what's going on right now." And a lot of bands just completely changed their sound and style.
Both.
Yeah,
I think it was a bit of both, though, because you had bands. I won't mention any names because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but there were some bands that came out with like songs and videos that was so. Can I curse?
sure you can.
Okay, they were so fucking ridiculous
Yep.
that I would watch the videos and I would get what we call the douche chills, and that's when you're embarrassed for someone else, like,
Yeah.
looking, and I'm like, did you really put this out? Or it was like, it was so over the top hair bandy stuff that it was like, don't get me wrong, the original hair bands, they had their place, they were great, and like anything else, the originals thrive and the copycats, ruin it for everybody else. But when it got to the point where by the late 80s, early 90s, some of these bands coming out, it was like, dude, tone it down, pump the brakes a little, So, and yeah, that's what made it had to go away because it just got too watered down, and there was nothing special anymore.
They're right, there wasn't. And I rip on bands like Anthrax a lot because like they changed their sound and style to fit into whatever was going on at the time to stay relevant. And like this band's not true to themselves, true what they started out doing. Then I was talking to somebody one day in another band. They were like, well, they're a machine right now. They're a business. They've got people that are on the payroll. They got to get paid. They have to make money. It's different when you're at that level. And I kind of understood it when he said it that way, that they have a responsibility to themselves and a lot of people that they pay for. But then like, the other part of me says, I don't care. I want to hear the Anthrax that I grew up with, not Anthrax doing rap, Anthrax doing new metal, like that.
Right. From a fan perspective, I can understand. It's the same thing like when you get the guys that are like, there's no Kiss except Ace and Peter. If it was, I can't accept it. They were stupid to get rid of them. I'm like, no, they're running a multi-million-dollar business. If you run a multi-million-dollar business and two of your coworkers are showing up drunk and stoned and not getting things done, you fire them. It's that simple. It's they weren't bringing it to the table, so they had to be replaced. And of course, there's always going to be that spot in everyone's heart for the original lineup. But let's be realistic. If they had hung on to Ace and Peter, they wouldn't have been around for that final show a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely
they
not.
They never would have lasted. Yeah.
No, not at all. Did you ever find yourself in that position over the years where you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to try something a little different because I want to keep playing, I want to keep going, and metal's kind of on the way out right now, and we're not going to do nothing with this. So, did you find yourself in that position at all?
Never. I was like, you know what? From my perspective, it's like I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna play what I want. And if people dig it, great. You come along for the ride. And if they don't, I'm doing it for me. And it's a labor of love more than anything else. And so, success with it is just a bonus at this point. I mean, I'm for all the going crazy and trying to, do things to get even farther ahead and everything. I'm like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this shit. It's like I'm playing music because I love it, and you know what? If you like it, cool. If you don't, it's cool too.
That's true. Not everybody has to like everything, but people get mad when they don't like them. So, but it's just the way it is. It's like last year. I think you had a great year last year. New album with Everdawn, Last Breed, new record, 2 records in a year. I mean, does it get better than that?
Well, I got to be honest, and I've been saying this to everybody else. I'm not on the Everdawn album. It was recorded before I joined.
Oh, so Mike LePond.
My best buddy Mike is playing bass on that, so I will never step on his toes and try to take credit for something he did. And it's great because thanks to him playing on that, he gives me, he helps me out because I got to learn all that. We're doing a record release show March 30th at Dingbats, and they want to play the album in its entirety, and I'm like, well, shit, I got to learn it. So Not too much pressure, and we're going to start rehearsing in a month. It's like, okay, you got a month. Learn Mike LePond's bass lines. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just a month? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Mike's an amazing bass player, and he's a great guy. Mike's played in every single band that's ever come out in the world. Mike is on every record and every demo tape that's ever been recorded.
I tell him that all the time. I'm like, is there any band you're not in at this point? Yeah. But it's yeah, I miss the boy. He's down in Florida now. He moved down to Orlando. But a while back, him and I lived together for like 6 months, and he was working on the first Silent Assassins album.
Great record.
And his playing is so unreal. I mean, I remember one time coming home from work, and he's in the living room working on, the songs for the album, and I just, as I'm walking by, he just comes up with this riff, and I remember just walking past him, just looking at him and going, "Oh, fuck you," and walking away. He's a phenomenal bass player and one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He'll give you the shirt off his back. So,
He really will. He is a sweetheart.
He is, and I'm lucky to have that multiple times. My Bob Ballinger in Power Theory is the same way. He'll give you the shirt off his back and will do anything to help you if you need it. And it's so lucky to have that twice in my life so far.
True, and you know what is? I thought Mike might have played on some of the record. You might have played on some of it, but now we know it's all him. But I mean, I know you can handle it because you're an amazing. Being a bass player myself, I listen to you play. I know how good you are, and you talked about Power Theory. I think it's like 10 years now. You with Power Theory?
A little bit over, yeah.
Wow.
What happened was I was in I was in Livesey, and again, it seems like every band I get into is in some way a cause of Mike doing it for me, because he was in Sleepy Hollow at the time. He was playing in Sleepy Hollow, and he couldn't do it anymore. So he told the rest of the guys in Sleepy Hollow, "Well, my friend Al plays bass. Why don't you have him?" Okay, fine. So I go in. I end up in Sleepy Hollow, and we do a show. I forgot where it was in Jersey. Weird club with a strip club right next door. It was like, I don't even remember the name of it. The Blue Room or something like that, I think it was called. Anyway, Power Theory opened for us. And I remember meeting Bob for the first time, and the bass I was playing had I'm a big Pittsburgh Penguin fan, had a Pittsburgh Penguins logo on it. And he's from Philly, so he's a Flyers fan. So he looks at me, he goes, "Yeah, we can't be friends." And now here we are 11 years later. He's my brother, and we've been in the same band. So yeah, they ended up losing their bass player, and they asked our singer at the time was Jeff Rose, and he was a friend of mine, and he said, "Why don't you get Al in the band?" And I came, and that's been it for over 10 years.
Yeah, the last record had Jeff Rose on there, who's a great singer. But that's been Power Theory's thing. I mean, the original singer was on the first 3 records, I think. He passed away. I mean, God rest his soul.
No,
but...
he was on the EP and the first 2, I think. Driven by Fear is Jeff, and Force of Will is our current singer, Jim Rutherford.
Yeah. I think the original singer was on An Axe to Grind and Out of the Ashes, besides the EP Metal Forever.
Yes, and yes, that was it. Yeah, he passed away sadly, and then they brought in Jeff, and then things didn't quite work out with Jeff after a while, so we got Jim, and things have been going pretty smooth with Jim since. So.
That's great. Well, members changing in bands is a common thing these days, always has been, but when you replace a singer, it's always a tricky thing, especially years ago. I mean, it worked for Iron Maiden, it worked for AC/DC, a lot of other bands it didn't work for. But I think today we're in a different environment where people, all they hear is the name. They don't even care no more who's singing. It's just,
Right.
Power Theory, we know the music, it's great. We don't care who's singing it. So does it really matter if you have to change like a key member, like the lead singer?
Right. It does. When it doesn't, it's a lot easier when you're not at a high level. I mean, we're in no way, shape, or form at a high level with the band. We're lower tier, and it's not as like drastic as like Ozzy leaving Sabbath. I mean, it's not people aren't going to care as much. But the thing is, you want for continuity's sake and for the label's sake, because labels they're kind of iffy if you're constantly changing singers, so you want to remain with a stable lineup as long as possible.
Absolutely. Well, the last record was what? Was that on Pure Steel? Put the last record out, I think, Force of Will.
Yeah, Force of Will is on Pure Steel. We are currently working on some new stuff, and we want to explore other label options at this point. And we'll be looking around. We're going to put an EPK together and try to hook up some management and another label and see what happens.
I'm pretty sure you won't have much trouble with that. Power Theory's always been a solid band, from day one. And out of that, with you and BB, you started Last Breed about a year ago. And that's, when I heard it, I was like, okay, he's probably going to sound like Power Theory, completely different, which I was hoping for and expect
Yeah,
because you
it
wouldn't want to
was-
do the same thing.
No, it was a labor of love that Bob came up with the idea. He said, "Listen, let's go back." Because Bob and I are a little older, and we, most people that are playing in the metal bands are into the '80s thing. We grew up in the '70s. We were
Yeah.
teenagers in the '70s, so that was our thing. And he's like, let's go back to like a UFO, Thin Lizzy kind of, our roots, and come out with these. And obviously on the album there's a UFO cover. And so we put it together, and it came in really nice. My drummer from Everdawn played in the video, but the drummer from Power Theory, who was on the EP we did, the Something Old, Something New, Something Fucking Live from Europe, that he played the drums. But then in the video, it's my drummer from Everdawn, who's now in Power Theory.
See?
So it's like,
It's a small
yeah,
world.
we're all and my keyboard player from when I was in Livesay, one of my best friends in the world, Tony Stahl, is the keyboards on Last Breed. And
That's-
the singer's name is Caesar. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not even going to try. I'm bad with pronunciation of names. But Caesar was in a local band in Philly called Seasons of Mourning, and he did the vocals on the album.
Yeah, I think it's a Tory or
Oh.
Etery, a Tory.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I
and of course,
butchered it
the
too.
lead guitars are Wonder Kid, London Fowler. He's also now in Power Theory, so it's like it's basically just people bouncing between bands, But it was, we never really intended to do any live shows with Last Breed. It was pretty much just a recording project. It's not signed to any label. We just put it out ourselves, and it ended up coming out better than we thought it was gonna.
It's fantastic. I love the Riot cover of Hard Loving Man, too. I mean, you talk about pure 70s rock. I mean,
yeah.
right there. It's fantastic. But you think you would continue this on just, recording and writing new music and maybe making it a live band also?
It depends, because right now things are really busy. I got Power Theory and I got Everdawn, and we're looking into doing a new Power Theory album. And with Everdawn, we got gigs lined up. We got that gig. We're doing a festival in Denmark in August, and then with Power Theory, we're looking to start getting some live shows. I know we're going to be doing 3 shows with Udo in September, but it's like this. At some point, you gotta say, okay, one thing has to go on the back burner, and you got to focus on the stuff that has more priority.
True. I mean, Everdawn signed to Frontier Records, big label over in Italy, but they got a habit of putting together bands that are like just project bands that they just throw different people in a room together. They've got a songwriter writes everything for them, but that's not Everdawn.
No, Everdawn is a band. They are our keyboard player Boris and our guitarist Rich they're the main songwriters, and they come up with. And when you hear, I don't know how much of the new album you've heard, but it's absolutely phenomenal. And I can say that without making it sound like I'm patting my own back, because I'm not on it. But and Dan is one of the best drummers I've ever seen. And I love the guy. He's like my little brother. He's a pain in the ass, but I love him. And Alina, our singer, is classically trained. She's from Russia, as is Boris, and now she lives in Canada. And she can sing anything, and it just makes the whole thing just sounds sonically. It's so huge, it's ridiculous. And even though I'm not on it, I'm proud of it. So I'll be on the next one.
I know you will be. I mean, you really get all your bases covered. You got the symphonic metal going on, whatever doing. You got the great hard rock of Last Breed, pure heavy metal with, Power Theory. I mean, you're covering the whole tri-state area on top of that. Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. You must be putting a lot of miles on that car.
Oh, tell me about it. It's a 250-mile round trip just to go to rehearsal with Power Theory.
Oh, God. But, when you're at the level that you guys are at, you don't have to rehearse all the time or as much as other bands maybe have to. You kind of we have the internet today. There's all this technology where you could exchange files and do things that way. Does it make it easier for you? Do you like being live with everybody in a room?
Well, no, if you do your homework at home, you don't have to rehearse as often. Like when with Everdawn, when I first joined the band, it was right after their album Cleopatra came out, and we got the opening slot for Michael Schenker's 50th anniversary European tour. So I think we rehearsed without, because Alina's in Canada, we rehearsed without her, I think 3 times, and then with her twice, and we were ready for the tour. So that's all it took.
It's amazing when you think about when you were a kid, you'd have to rehearse like 3 times a week when you were starting a band just to
Oh,
get
God.
everybody in the same studio. Now you're like, okay, one time I got it all down. I'm going to learn the whole
Yeah.
record,
Oh,
before
dude.
the tour.
I'll blow your mind even more. When I was living with Mike, Symphony X was about to go out on tour, and they all flew in to rehearse, and they rehearsed like twice, and and their music's like so over the top. I'm like, that's all you need, huh? I guess if you're pro, you're pro, man. You do it home, you do your homework, you come in and you get it done. So
That's so true. I mean, Alan, was bass always like something you did? Was it easy to you? Did it come by easy? Was it something you really had to work hard on to learn how to play?
Well, I started wanting to play guitar, and this is, people who know me know this. It's even on my bio on the GHS Strings page. My cousin Joe was my mentor when I was younger. He's a Grammy-nominated producer, good bass player, and I tried to play guitar, and he said, "Your fingers are too fat. Here, play bass." So, and I picked up the bass, and I loved it. And I mean, I am not in any way, shape, or form classically trained. I don't know theory. I can't read music. What I did is I picked up a bass and played what I thought sounded good, and it's worked so far.
Absolutely.
47 years.
You know, being that you just picked it up and started, I mean, I'm a bass player myself, and to me, I think we're the most important member of any band. That's just my personal thing. I don't think any band could get by without the bass player. We are the kings of the band, in my opinion. But did you feel comfortable with it in the beginning? When did you pick up when they say, you know what, I know what I'm doing. I don't have to worry no more. I feel comfortable with it. Because early on,
Well,
you're not sure of how to play. You're not sure what you're doing.
Right. I think what pushed me into being a lot more comfortable with my playing was my performing, because when we started playing live, the earliest actually my first ever band was a band called Nightwish. Not Nightwish, sorry, Nightwing. We were called. I named it after that really cheesy friggin' horror movie, and we played like Loa, like the Battle of the Bands at the Sons of Italy Hall in the Bronx, and places like that. Nothing big, but once I got out of that, and then I got into Saintly Sinner, when we started playing live, I grew up. My influences growing up were Kiss, Queen, Alice Cooper, Angel, bands like that. And I said, okay, well, that's what I want to be like. And so when we got on stage, that just took over, and I started, giving everyone a show. And then when I realized, okay, they're digging the show, I didn't worry as much about, oh my God, are they gonna like my bass playing? Then it just started flowing naturally, and it's been like that since then. I mean, anyone who comes to see us knows, make sure there's an area where I can run around and leave me alone. I'll give you the show and I'll play the bass, and that's it. So it totally was my comfort level on playing was actually brought higher by my ability to perform live. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. I mean, back in the 80s, there was always that pressure on any member of any band that wanted to succeed and make it, like to, kind of go with the flow and make it happen. But now, like 30, 40 years later on, is it just purely for fun now? You say, you know what, if something happens, that'd be great. If not, I'm having a good time doing it, and it doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, I have to be honest with myself, and I have to be realistic. There are a lot more gigs behind me than there are in front of me. I mean, I am 62 years old, and thankfully I don't look it, don't act it, don't feel it. So I can still do this without, people looking up on stage and going, "Hey, Grandpa, get off." But I do know I can't keep doing it forever. So it is a labor of love, like I said. And if something comes of it, and I'm all for it. But if it doesn't, I can step back and not have any regrets at this point.
That's important. I know you said you were working on new Power Theory music. Do you think it's something that might happen this year?
We're going to hope that it will. I mean, Bob is a writing machine, so it's like, he gave me a bunch of songs that he wants me to write some lyrics for, and obviously bass lines. And we're going to start, seeing what we can put together with that. and hopefully we can have it done, before the Udo shows. That way we have a new product to take with us.
That would be great. I mean, learn how to play the bass. Being a bass player is one thing, but being a songwriter is another. Are you a songwriter too? Is it easy writing songs for you?
No, I am not a songwriter. I'm a lyricist. I come up with I've never really written music. I think in my whole life I might have written, 3 or 4 songs that were mine. Totally, more often than not, I either do a bass line, or while the song's being written, I'll be like, hey, why don't we try this and this? Like I'll help arrange or something like that. But as far as just sitting down and composing songs, I don't do that. I'm more involved with the lyric writing.
Yeah. One of the bands I wanted to talk about, that I loved, and I was going to have Rob Graves on the show. Unfortunately, he passed away, in a car accident. We were talking a few months before that. We couldn't make it work. You played with Ripper for a little while, I think in 2008 or 9, somewhere in that area?
I laid down some tracks for the second album, and The Dead Have Risen. And it ended up that he didn't really use any of them on there, because my style didn't gel well with what they were doing. But Rob was one of my best friends in the world. I was devastated when he died. I had got to work on a Monday morning, and his wife called me, and I heard like the tone of her voice, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she just said, Rob's gone. And I'm like, what? So I got on a plane, flew down to Texas. All the other members of Ripper were there, and we just sat there like bawling our eyes out that, I can't believe he's gone. And what happened was he apparently he was having a heart attack, and as like I always told him, like the big stubborn Texan he tried to drive himself to the hospital, and he didn't quite make it. He must have passed out behind the wheel. The car left the road and hit a tree, and he was gone. And it really, we've been friends since '86, I think. I met him at a horror convention in Manhattan, and we became like friends instantly. And then I flew down to Texas a couple of times to visit him, and and then when he was gone, it was such a shock, because he was so much bigger than life, and it left such a void. And Ripper was really, really, as far as an underground band, they had a really pretty decent following. I mean, I was surprised at how many people like loved them, because I didn't really hear of him until I met him, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, a lot of people dig you, man. So it's such a loss for the metal community.
It was. I mean, that band was around since the 70s also, in one form or another, and he had it going for those 3 records, the demo tape. And like I said, I was talking to him on and off saying, we're going to hook up, get on the show, and then by the time I ever got around to it, he was gone. That's how quick things happen in life,
Oh, God, too quick. It was like, I just talked to him, and then all of a sudden I get the call, and I was like, you got to be kidding me,
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's why
it
every day above ground is a good day, man. You gotta enjoy every day. So
you got that right, Alan. Hey, Alan, I'm not going to keep you because I know the Dolphins are playing tonight, and you got to get yourself prepared for that game. Win or lose, I know you're a fan, but we'll see which way it goes tonight.
Dude, I've been a fan since they came into the league. My father said I was 5 years old, 1966, and I saw the helmet on TV, and that was it. And I've been a fan ever since. And since 1972, we had a brief time with Marino where I thought we might get it done again. But other than that, I've been suffering and waiting for them to be relevant again. And now finally they're in the playoffs 2 years in a row. And I'm like, okay, can I allow myself to get excited, or should I not do that because I know they're going to stab me in the back?
It'll
again.
be a jinx, yeah. Well, you'll find out in a couple hours if we go another week.
Yeah, well, we're definitely in the playoffs. So win or lose tonight, they're in the playoffs.
That's right.
The thing is now, because Jacksonville lost, those son of a bitches, if we beat Buffalo tonight, we play Buffalo the first round of the playoffs. I'm like, great.
I know.
Twice in a row.
That'll be amazing. Hey, but Alan, it was great talking to you tonight. I'm going to play some Power Theory. I was playing some Saint Cinema when you called back in. I'm going to get back to that song, and we'll play a few more tunes by you by the end of the night also. So it was great to talk to you. I'm going to try to make it to the Everdome gig at Dingbats so we can meet up a little bit that night, and hopefully it'll take place because, we got some shitty weather coming up this week.
And do me a favor, when you sign me off and go back on, stay on the line because I want to tell you something that I can't say publicly yet.
You got it. Let me see if I can do that. Hang on a second. I'll try to do it. If not, I'll call you back.
Okay, cool deal.
Because I don't know how to. I get confused on how to do that. With transferring the calls and put one on hold. Because it's all done on a digital computer switchboard, and it throws me off all the time. One time I did that, and the whole conversation went out over the air.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'll play some songs, and then I'll give you a call if I can't do it. All right, so hang on after the song.
You got it. Call,
All right.
call me from this number, though, and so I can, because obviously the other number for some reason ain't coming through.
All right, you got it. I'll do that.
All right, brother. I'll talk
All
to
right,
you
Alan, you take care, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Call out your name in darkness that binds. You can't see me at all from this absence of light. Now your soul's burning bright from the other side. Cold wind snaps in the sail, see the very men rise. Now see him You came out of the mist where the hills meet the sky, bringing balance to life so the pain would subside. Time reopened our minds to the ways of the old. Now the hour's at hand, and for me the bell tolls. I enter the realm where two worlds collide. If forever ends today, don't say goodbye. I'll wait by death's door, so close to your side. If forever ends today, I'll be your forever ends today, don't say goodbye. I'll wait by death's door, so close to your side. If forever ends today, I'll be your Don't say goodbye, don't say goodbye. Death is not
by Saintly Sinner. We started playing that when we were trying to reach out to Alan, and we finished playing it now. Call the Surgeon. I love Saintly Sinner. Those two demo tapes I still play to this day. And, I don't think sometimes bands realize how important some of those things are that they did to fans that just fell in love with that music because we still play it. I wish some label would, get in touch with them and try to remaster, and reissue all of those songs plus anything else that they may have lying around. It would be great to see that on CD or on vinyl. Oh, man, that would be fantastic. I want to thank Alan for being on tonight's show. The first month of the new year is always tough for guests because the industry kind of shuts down the last 2 weeks of the year. So I reach out to people and we try to get them on here. We start like one guest a week, and then it kind of builds up from there like as the year goes on and the industry starts picking up speed again. So I want to thank Alan for taking out the time for being on tonight's show. And, I reach out to him during the holidays, no less. So I do appreciate that. Who do we have on the show next week? Oh, Mark Edwards from Overlord is on the show next week, as well as Michael J. Miller from Rapid Tears. So we got another great one next week. This month, everybody is on live. Go figure. We have no pre-recorded interviews because they haven't really started doing press stage yet, the labels. But we'll get into that in a little while. All right, what can we do next? Let me see here. I have New Morbid Saint, which I want to play. We'll get to that. I know I have something else new I wanted to get to tonight. Or maybe I'll save it for next week because, I'll save that for next week. We'll do New Morbid Saint a little bit in the show, but a couple of weeks ago, I think the Keep It True Festival had posted a flyer with the names of other festivals saying, how people have to come out and support these festivals. It's very important for them and, for them to continue. But you know what? I think they're doing that now because I think the whole festival thing is starting to, take a downturn. I've been saying this for years. If you're not going to offer something new, with every festival, you're going to keep rehashing the same bands. There are maybe 10 major underground festivals. There's a lot of festivals. There are 10 of them that most people talk about or go to. And if you guys just keep rehashing the same bands between each and every one of you, people are just going to get tired of going. I mean, that's just the way it is. How many the Rage of Armageddon Festival here in New York? Ed, a great promoter, does amazing shows all the time. I love what he does. The last Rage of Armageddon I went to, well, the one before this one got canceled. There was one last year, one before was canceled because of COVID. So there wasn't anything in between there. But the one before that, you had Tyrant on the bill. There were so many bands that built that. It rained it started 2 hours late. The place was an absolute shithole. I got to be honest with you. I felt like I was walking on a floor that was held up by milk crates. It was a dive, the place, and it's like an industrial area of Brooklyn, which where a lot of these clubs are these days. Like I said, it started 2 hours late. Everything was like a nightmare. So I left before I even saw half the bands on the bill that night because I just couldn't stand around no more. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I think 2 bands went on. I never got to see Attacker. I think they were headliners that night. Tyrant was on the bill. I think Thrust was on the bill. He had a lot of great bands on there. But, shit like that happens sometimes. But as a fan paying money, you don't want to sit there, especially when your fan base are people in their 50s. We don't have that stamina no more. I hate to tell these guys, And I think there are just too many bands on these bills sometimes. You always want to cram with as many groups as you can, but I don't have the energy or the patience to sit through 10 or 12 bands to get to the 1 or 2 I really care about, So this year's Rage of Armageddon Festival, he's bringing in Darkness from Germany, which would be pretty cool. I think they got 2 original members left in that band, or maybe 1. I'm not even sure. Detanta's on the bill. It's most of the original lineup, except for Dawn Crosby, who passed away. Tina Teal was on that last record. Then they kind of disappeared for about 6 or 7 years. But it wasn't a bad album, and Tina's not a bad singer, so that's not bad. But then, Deceased. I love Deceased. King Fowley's band, but Deceased and Blood Feast, 2 bands I love. These 2 bands are on almost every single one of his shows or festivals. Blood Feast is on every single show that Ed puts on. So that's why how many times am I going to see Blood Feast? I love him, but I like to see a different band, I'm paying money. I'm going out for the night. I don't want to see the same band doing the same set all the time. And I love Blood Feast. I mean, I can watch them over and over again, but I do want to see some different bands. That's just not happening. So he's got Detente and Darkness as the headliners. Blood Feast and Deceased, who on or October 31st with King Fowley don't have it all no more. Those were the 2 bands that were always on every bill. And now you have Morbid Saint on the bill and a couple of 2 or 3 smaller bands. That's the festival. You've got Blades of Steel that announced I'm getting all tongue-tied over here. Night Demon. So you knew Sirat Ungul was coming, and everybody's trying to get them on because it's going to be their last time, performing live. At least they say it is. It could be a Kiss move where they, come back and do a bunch of more shows. Who knows? But then you have, Legions of Metal Festival with Bob. He's taking a kind of different route this year. He has his 2 he has Unleash the Archers as the headliners one night, and he has Watchtower another night. Now, you can't beat Watchtower. I just saw a video of them playing the other day. They look and sound great. They've only done a few shows since getting back together, so that's like a real thrill to have Watchtower playing again with a lot of those original guys in the band. So that's going to be a great one. He's also got Hyrax on that night, but to me, I feel like Hyrax should be the headliner on the other night, not Unleash the Archers. If you want to get people in both nights, split it up in a way. But they got Strike on Unleash the Archers one night, but he went with a lot of local bands. I don't mean local to Chicago, but local to the areas they come from, I should say. A lot of smaller bands, not A-leaguers or even B-leaguers. They're like a lot of up-and-coming bands. Some of them are pretty good. So he's going in a different direction this year. I want to see how it works out. I hope it works out well for him. But, are those bands enough to draw a crowd in for 10 or 12 hours, 2 days in a row? I don't know. You'll have people that want to see Watchtower and Hyrax, people that want to see Unleash the Archers and Striker. But there's a lot of smaller bands on underneath them. Are they enough to draw the crowd? I'm curious. If he does well with that and he packs the place in, then he's on his own to something. He's got, a way of going. But you got to start doing things differently. At least he's trying to do something different this year. He's got a couple of classic 80s bands on there, bands that can headline the show and bring in the crowd. There's got a lot of younger bands that, if they get the break, they could be the next headliners. So let's see if that works out. But, to the festival promoters, stop copying each other, stop sharing bands, stop repeating bands, try to do something different to make it work. That's all I can say. All right, let's get back to the music right now. How about we do a little, you know what? Yeah, let's do some Def Leppard. I just saw Def Leppard are going out on a tour. They're doing a stadium tour. They kind of took the name from the Motley Crue tour they were on. As much as, I love the earlier Def Leppard, the first two records, absolutely loved them. I wasn't crazy about Pyromania. You could see the writing was on the wall and things were starting to change. When I look back at Pyromania now, 30 years later, I think it's a masterpiece compared to Hysteria and all the records they put out afterwards. But Def Leppard are going out on tour. Obviously, they're the headliners of this one. They're playing with Cheap Trick, a great rock band. You can't beat Cheap Trick. They're playing with the Steve Miller Band. How do you go out on tour playing with Motley Crue and Poison? They're going out on tour with the Steve Miller Band. Steve Miller Band is great. He's an AOR rock band. Cheap Trick, an AOR rock band. Heart on the bill too, an AOR rock band. So Def Leppard could go out and play with anybody and draw the same crowd. Now, if I'm going to see Def Leppard, the last band I want to see is the Steve Miller Band playing with them. But this is the lineup that they're putting together, and they'll probably pack it in. It's such a mixed audience for that show. Like me, if I'm a Steve Miller fan, I don't think I'd be into Def Leppard, even the newest shit, which is like really badly, commercialized. But it is what it is. This is the world we live in. Crazy, huh? Here's some classic Def Leppard.
Watch out for the rock brigade.
There you go, brand new Morbid Saint. It's a pretty good record, I gotta be honest with you. Rise from the Ashes. And what did we do right before that? We did Breaker with Living Free and Matakopis with Night Stalker. Heaven Hell Records are going to remaster and re-release that record. I know they're going to do a great job on it. I believe they're also in possession of a second unreleased album by the band, and they are going to try to get that out there also, so that's going to be fantastic if it happens. And we kick things off with a little Def Leppard over there. Ah, man, I tell you, we got a great year coming up. 2023 was another fantastic year for metal. So many killer albums out by such classic 80s bands that, the ones that we love, we play in the show. This year's looking to shape up pretty good. I know this month alone, Scanner have a new record out called The Cosmic Rays. Master putting out Saints Dispelled. I'm really looking forward to the Rod. I actually had the record for a couple of months now, but, the new Rod record will be out, Rattle the Cage, officially, I think, next week on the 17th, and the same with Saxon with Hell, Fire, and Damnation. So that means, we'll be having Cole Kennedy or Rock on here, and probably Biff. The new Ruthless comes out next week, so, you have that to get a hold of. And there's a lot of other records. Those are, pretty much the ones that we would focus on this show. I think Russell from Symphony X has a solo record coming out, too. I have to check into that. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. All right, what? I'm going to play Assassin's Blade next. I really like this album. It came out, I don't remember, a couple of years ago. It featured one of, who was it? Was it Rick Sharon was on drums, I believe? Jacques Ballinger, the old singer from Exciter, one of the versions of Exciter. And I think there was somebody else on there from the band. I'm not really sure, but it was a pretty good record, Assassin's Blade. Ages of Mystification. Then they had another one out called Gather Darkness in 2019. Then that was all we got from those guys. So I'm hoping that they're still together, still doing it. Maybe I'll reach out to Jacques and see if he wants to come back on the show, talk about what's happening with the band. But off that first record, here's Ages of Mystification. right, Original Sin with The Curse. We're going to wrap it up here tonight with one more song. I want to thank Alan D'Angelo from Power Theory and Last Breed and Everdawn, and he might be in a new band real soon, a big league band, and hopefully it'll all work out for him, and we'll announce it when it comes true, which I think it will, so we'll let you know then. And next week, Mark Edwards from Overlord is our guest. They got a brand new record out. We'll debut a couple of songs off that record next week. And then we have Michael J. Miller. He's got a band called the MJM Band right now, but everybody knows him from Rapid Tears, so we'll be doing a lot of Rapid Tears talk as well as a solo band. So I want to wrap it up here today. My son and his wife had their first child, my newest grandson, Dimitro Joseph. So I want to wish them the best of luck. And one song my wife always played with all my grandkids when they were born and she was trying to get them to sleep was Black Sabbath, It's Alright. So I'm going to play that for Dimitro tonight and wrap it up here. Here you go, DJ. This is for you. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. And I'll see you guys next Sunday night.